Hello, Chef Edward Leonard, corporate chef for Le Cordon Bleu in North America. And today I'm going to spend a few minutes with you to do something really cool and special. We're going to make a compressed watermelon salad. Watermelon is a favorite of many people. And of course in Mexico, watermelon is used for many beverages, many drinks, and as well salad. But we're going to show you a little modern interpretation. What we're going to do today is we're actually going to compress this watermelon in a machine. If you'd like to do this at home and practice, all you have to do is go out and buy a food saver or a similar type machine. And the whole concept is really to take our watermelon and we're going to compress it. And what the compression does is it really brings out the sugars and intensity of the product. As you see here, a nice rich color, almost similar looking to maybe raw tuna. People might perceive this to be if they didn't know what was here. So I'm going to show you a few tricks that we can use to even impart some flavor into the watermelon. So the first thing we're going to do is take our watermelon and square it off. Now again, cooking is really about innovation. Cooking is about being creative and doing things that have a sound fundamental base, but at the same time, putting your own touches. So one of the things we could do is take a cutter, very similar to this. This is a pastry cutter. They come in round or crinkle cut in squares, heart shapes. And we're actually going to cut this piece of watermelon and get a nice little cut there so we have a nice circle. And what this does is for plate presentation, the first thing people do when they see food, of course, is eat with their eyes. And it's imperative that when a dish comes to the table, whether you're serving your family or in a restaurant, you want the food to be attractive. And you also want the food to set expectations. You want people to look at that dish and say, wow, I cannot wait to taste that. I cannot wait to just experience that whole dish of what's going on with it. So we're going to take this and we're going to sprinkle a little sugar, okay? Now this sugar has been finished off with a little vanilla. We took a little vanilla bean, we scraped it out, and this is a vanilla bean. It's a bourbon vanilla bean, and basically when you split this open, you can scrape out and all these wonderful seeds come out of the pod that have intense flavor, and we kind of mix it with the sugar to make a vanilla sugar. This is going to give the watermelon a little more sweetness, but a little complexity with that vanilla flavor. And then we're going to add, believe it or not, a touch of kosher salt. What the salt's going to do is actually with the sweetness, the salt, it just develops a nice contrast. It's also going to help evaporate some of that liquid a little quicker out of the watermelon so we can get that juice really going and infused. And then I'm going to take a little cherry balsamic. You can use honey, you can use maple syrup. Again, depending on the flavor profiles that you wish to do, you can flavor this, and by compressing it, those flavors are really going to what I call a quick marination. And you can use this process for many other items too, such as fish, such as meats. Instead of the traditional putting something in a bowl and marinating it, you marinate, you take your spices, you can do a dry spice rub, a wet rub, you put it inside the bag. And by doing this, you will actually marinate in almost half the time. So you can take an item, put it in the food saver bag or a professional cryovac bag, you can press it, and within an hour, your food is marinated and ready to go for service. So we're going to put this off to the side and take out the machine. Now the machine really works on a very simple process. What happens is the bag is made and constructed in a special way. So when it goes into the machine, all the air and oxygen is sucked out. And really what that does is leave you with something that's compressed. So all the air is taken out. And all those flavors, anything you put in there really compresses into the food product and just makes, when you open this bag, the aroma and just the flavors that are going to come out of here because of that compression and because of the spicing is really incredible and makes that dish much more special than just cutting the watermelon by itself. So we're going to put it inside the machine, and basically we just line it up and we're going to press down. And all the oxygen now is being taken out. The watermelon's compressing. Some of the excess water is also coming out. But as it compresses, that sugar, the syrup, everything we did to it, and here you go. Beautiful compressed melon. You can do this with cantaloupe. You can do this with honeydew. You can do it with peaches. The creativity is up to you, but the concept remains the same. We're imparting flavor, we're bringing out natural sugars, and we're really taking food to what I call the next level, which is what makes it special. Now to make the salad, we're going to do something, I'm going to use the round disc. We're going to do an individual salad as well as a square. So I'm going to open up the bag. And you see here, once you open it up, all the air releases and basically the air comes out and you have this beautiful looking watermelon. It's got this nice sheen to it, this beautiful glaze from the marination, from the syrup. So already just that contrast of that watermelon makes it appealing. It makes you hungry, makes you want to eat it. It's very inviting, and that really is the concept of all food, no matter what you're cooking and doing, is making a dish that's inviting, exciting to look at, and creates that anticipation. And we're going to do the same thing. This was just a squared off piece, so again, depending on the presentation and what we want to achieve, you have yourself two different concepts. Now we're going to pair this watermelon up with what I call mâche. Mâche is a little green that's grown in Holland and France. Kind of velvety, it's got kind of a sweetness to it, a little hazelnut type flavor profile, very delicate, very light. We're also going to do some queso bianca, which is Mexican cheese, a white cheese, bianca. And Mexican cheeses are really not complex. They're very light. They have nice textures to them where they're crumbly or firm, but they really aren't deep flavors that overmask anything. So what this cheese is going to do is complement the watermelon. It's going to accentuate some of the flavors we put in there without overpowering, because the main focus of the dish is the watermelon. So anything we add to this dish, we really don't want to take away from that flavor. We just want to add to the watermelon, bring out those flavors, and have flavors that just marry, and when you taste it, they jump in your mouth, they make your palate excited, and you really have what I call a great eating experience. We have some very thin sliced red onions, and we're going to make a very simple vinaigrette, but we also have some mango. I have here some batonets of mango, and we're going to take those, and we're basically going to dice them. But by taking nice even batonets and just doing a perfect dice where everything kind of looks the same, when I go to put this on, it's just going to have a nice appeal to it and enhance what we're doing. So we're going to take some of that, and you see here, just the contrast of that color alone is pretty awesome. We have the nice brightness, the yellow. We have this beautiful dark red, what I call the canvas. You know, the watermelon, when it's done like this, the plank, or whether you're doing a disc, actually adds as a canvas for some of the supporting items that we're putting on. So we're going to decorate that. And again, nice flavor profiles. We got the sweetness of the watermelon. We now complement it with something that's a little more heartier, a different type of sweetness. So just a very elegant thing. We're going to take the cheese, and we're going to do the same thing to the cheese. We're going to make a nice small dice with the cheese. So we have the diced case of cheese here, again, to go pretty much with what we've diced on this salad. So here you have, you know, very colorful. I mean, this just has a lot of colors, but food really isn't about decoration or making it colorful. What really makes this special and happening is the flavors. If the dish didn't really make sense and harmonize with all these components, then it doesn't matter how it looks. You want the food to look great, but you also want it to taste even better. So what we'll do for the other salad, just to do a little different change up, we'll take the cheese and we're going to slice kind of like a little julienne, make it very thin strips. So rather than the dice, we're going to add a little different contrast to this one. As you see here, by laying this out different, we just have a different approach. We have a different look than this salad here. So very nicely done. Same products, same items, but just two different presentations. Now for the vinaigrette, very simple. Vinaigrette, basically, we're going to do 3 parts oil or fat, 1 part vinegar. Now, we're going to add a little seasoning to this. But however, when we take our seasoning, we're going to take the salt. We're going to add that to the vinegar. We're going to take just a little touch of that vanilla sugar that we sprinkled on the watermelon in the vinegar, and as well as a little herb and a little bit of pepper. The reason why we add this to the vinegar and not the oil is because if we add this to the oil, it's not going to dissolve. The flavor profiles of those seasonings will not evaporate. We won't get the benefit of the full flavor. So we're going to impart that into the vinegar first and really dissolve that. Make sure all those flavors, the sugar melts, the salt's blending in. So this vinegar is now coming alive at a whole nother level. This is a rice wine vinegar, very mellow vinegar, kind of a sweet tart going to it, which will complement the sweetness of this. So we want some of that tartness. And then we're going to finish it in with just a little grapeseed oil. Now you don't want to use a heavy olive oil. You don't want to use like an extra virgin olive oil because the consistency is very heavy. The flavor would be overpowering. And again, the idea is we want to complement the salad. So even if we were to use a little olive oil, we'll drizzle that at the end just to get that flavor boost to really build that profile. So, and this basically is a vinaigrette at its simplest form. Classical salads were actually dressed very lightly in a vinaigrette, and then they were actually then coated with the dressing at hand. So we're going to take a little of the red onion and put that in with our mash. And again, slice very thin. The onion has, of course, a very strong flavor. It's raw, but red onion does have a slight sweetness to it. But if we cut this really thick, it's going to overpower the salad. It's going to overpower the greens and the watermelon. We want the onion just to add that little bite, that little contrast and flavor, that little crunchiness to go with the textures. Because really, that's what great food's about. It's about flavor contrast. It's about texture contrast, something soft with something crispy. Food is just so exciting, and when you look at it this way and take this approach, the amount of dishes you can build and the flavor profiles are just incredible. And we're going to take just a little of this vinaigrette, because you always dress your greens, so whether they're microgreens, whether they're little salad greens that you're using, you always just want to lightly coat them. Give them just a little bit of flavor. And really good, again, a great dish, good food is about flavor. It's about flavor profiles, that everything you do has flavor. You're building a flavor profile, and then when it all comes together, it's just an exciting way to eat. So we're going to take this greens here, we're going to put these right in the middle. This is kind of what we call center of the plate presentation. We have our center main component. We're building on that. There's really no side dishes. There's nothing else. Just a nice little center of the plate. And look how lovely that looks. I mean, the red of the onion, the mash being coated has a beautiful sheen to it. You can see the flavors coming alive. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to put that right on the top. Now again, creativity, you know, what we like to do, cooking's about being inspired. Cooking's about taking great food and doing some things that you may want to do, and maybe presentation a little different. This watermelon plank can go more to the left. You can actually build your salad to the right for just a whole different look. So that's up to you, but the most important thing is understand the flavor profiles, understand the great fundamentals of food, and then that creativity to make modern dishes or contemporary type dishes is up to you. So we're going to take some of the vinaigrette. Let's see, we're going to drizzle it around the plate, and look at that beautiful flavors. You have the herbs coming out of there. I mean, this is just something that on a hot summer day, spring day, you serve this to somebody as a starter, as a nice little light lunch, a salad, nice fresh crispy loaves of bread, and you're in heaven. This is just an incredible eating dish. Now, I talked about that olive oil. This is extra virgin olive oil. This has a nice peppery finish, very rich, and that pepper is going to go very good actually with all the sweetness we have, the contrast of the cheese. So again, just little drizzles. That's why we have this little squeeze bottle. And you see here it goes into the vinaigrette and presentation. Flavor, presentation, presentation, flavor. They all go together. And as long as you're adding things to a dish that makes sense, add flavor to it, harmonize with the other ingredients, you can keep building your flavors. And then we're just going to take a little touch, again, just for a little decoration. We're going to do that cherry balsamic, a little there, a little all four corners. And then in this dish, center of the plate dish, we're actually just going to do a nice little drizzle. And there you have it. You have an incredible watermelon salad with cheese, fresh papaya. You got this beautiful compressed watermelon, rich in color, rich in flavor from our marination. You have the dressing, the tartness, the onion, the little bite of the peppery oil. Incredible eating, an incredible light, simple dish with elegance. That's what food is about.